Hey everybody, welcome to American Courts. I don't know what happened there, but if it can happen, it will happen. How's everybody doing today? Looked like we had a heck of a crowd there for a minute there, and it went away, but it'll come back in just a second. We're going to build it up. Um, Let me give it a few minutes to let everybody get in here. We'll give it there. Let's see. We're starting to build up a little bit of people here. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump in on Judge Hayward in Clayton County. So let's go see what we got.
On Smith, and Ms. Hagler, well, please, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, so Mr. Smith, you're before the court on 2022 CR 00951 for Diversity DeQuez Smith. My understanding is this case, along with 2023 CR 0374843, that's 2023 CR 03743 and 2024 CR 03387. Those three cases named will be null prossed in their entirety under an agreement between your attorney and the state. The remaining case is 2024 CR 03384. I don't have that listed on my calendar, so I don't know what that case entails. So somebody.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in while everybody's coming here, and we'll see if we can't get the show started again. Hey everybody, we got a good little crowd in here. Got Jay, Victoria, Roland G. Always good to see you there. We got Linus, Jay, Nancy Myers, Emily, Sevo girl. Looks like we got a good little crowd going. Nan, hey, it's always good to say hey to you again, at least 3 or 4 times a day, Nan. We've got Judge Hayward, we got Judge Fleischer, we got Judge Middleton, and Judge Simpson. So we're gonna see if we can get through at least 1 or 2 more of these before I hang up on y'all again. So let's go to Judge Hayward.
Fill me in on what charges are on that case.
Yes, Ron, that is a theft by receiving stolen property.
All right. What does your client plead to theft by receiving?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right. Factual basis, please, and recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about July 8th of 2023, Officer D. Montano responded regarding the theft of 2 black blowers that had been stolen.
Two black what?
Blowers, BLOWERS, blowers.
I think leaf blowers, Judge.
Oh, okay.
When the officer arrived on the scene, he made contact with the complainant, Mark Talinsky, who stated that earlier that morning, his 2 gas-powered blowers were stolen from his work truck. According to Mark Talinsky, he stated that his workers observed a black male take the 2 blowers out of the truck and get into a black pickup truck. At this time, the state's offer is going to be a fine of $400, and the defendant is to not have any contact with the victim.
All right. Mr. Lynch.
Your Honor, we would that the court accept the negotiated plea in this case.
Yes, Mr. Laguda, that's fine. Mr. Smith, I feel like I'm failing you because I feel like I should be giving you plenty of time on all these cases because you don't get that you just can't keep racking up offenses like it's nothing. Like the court is something to play with. Like people's lives are something to play with. But the fact that that man didn't have the ability to do his job because 2 of his 2 pieces of essential equipment had been stolen, that means you're taking food out of his mouth. That means you're taking food out of the mouths of his children and the people who work for him. All because you too lazy and trifling to get your own job and do what you need to do. I don't care. Mr. Lynch can tell you, well, I just need you to be calm and stand there and take it. I don't care what you do, really. Act up and you'll get another charge. But what I'm telling you is it's past time for you doing stupid stuff. It's past time. You got 4 cases in front of me. It's like you were just racking them up. Oh, it's time to get another case in front of Judge Hayward. Time to get another case in front of Judge Hayward. When you gonna get your life together, sir? Let's ask that question. How old are you?
32.
You old for this kind of foolishness. This is kid stuff. This is 19, 20, 22, 23, where I'm stupid and goofy and I don't know what I'm doing and I haven't grown into myself yet. But you in your 30s, where you're supposed to be establishing yourself as a man, not somebody who's always getting over on somebody. Imagine if you had a job, you owned a business, and somebody took the essential equipment for your business, and you couldn't work and you couldn't earn a living, and money that you anticipated coming into your pocket, they took from you. Imagine that. But instead, you out here, well, I don't care what happens to somebody else. I'm gonna rack up my accounts. It's horrible. That's not what men do. That's what little boys do. They take from other people. They play with other people's livelihood. They rack up criminal charges like it's nothing. And now they're asking me to go ahead and give you a $400 fine, and you're to have no contact with the individual whose property was taken. And they're null processing these 3 other cases, one of which was a battery case. I feel like something is wrong. Maybe I'm not doing something. You should have had a motion to revoke bond as soon as you got the second case. We should have snatched your bond, and that would have prevented you from having the third and the fourth case. That man would probably still have his property. So here's the thing, Mr. Smith, and you have a very recognizable name, Mr. DeVarsity Smith. The next time a misdemeanor is committed in Clayton County and it has your name on it, guess who you're gonna see? Me. And I will remember you. You can ask anybody who works with me. I've been doing this for 10 years. And if I text the clerk and say, hey, haven't I seen this person before? And they come back with, yeah, Judge, they were here 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I will remember. So, Mr. Smith, this is your opportunity to straighten up and fly right. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you start making some better choices for your life?
I can, Your Honor.
Do you have kids?
Yes, ma'am. 2 boys.
Oh, my Lord. So you're raising them to come into the system, is what you tell them. You want to see them in an orange jumpsuit right about the time I'm ready to retire, is what you're saying.
I don't. No, ma'am.
Okay, but it's okay for you to commit crimes and be out here wilding, but you are acting like you want to raise your children, your 2 boys, to be stand-up men. Because kids don't do what you tell them. They do what you show them. So you showing them, yeah, it's all right to be out here hitting a lick, as opposed to showing them what a man looks like. Somebody who holds down a job, provides for their children, makes sure men take their kids on vacation. They're there when the kids are sick. They're there to go to the school conferences. That's dad behavior, not baby daddy behavior. You can't do dad behavior if you in and out of jail, if you picking up charges left and right. If the next time I see you, I'm gonna revoke the balance of whatever time you got because you playing with me. We clear? How old are your sons?
7 and 8.
How are they doing in school?
A good boy. On the roll.
Have you met their teachers? That's a no, because you're not an involved dad. So the only reason they're good boys is because their mom is making them a good boy. You out here thumping your chest about how you got sons. Ooh, I got sons. But you're not out here making sure those sons grow up to be men, because you're not participating. You're a baby daddy. You're not a dad. You're not the person that if something happens, the school's gonna call. You're probably not even on the emergency contact list. So, sir, condoms are cheaper than child support or child care. So before you have another child, remember that. And second of all, stop bringing kids into the world that you just gonna have a passing glance at them. You're gonna catch a glimpse of them every now and again, and you're gonna take credit for what their mama is doing for them. I love the stories about the dad who, he's sitting in a bar talking about, yeah, that's my son. That running back is my son. Or, yeah, that doctor who, was at the hospital performed that surgery, that's my son. And you had nothing to do with it. Not one thing other than you didn't use a condom one night. So if you're going to have good boys, if they're going to continue to be good until they become men, you're going to have to change. And if you can't have respect for their mother and treat her with respect and make sure she has what she needs to help them financially and emotionally, then they're going to remember how you treated their mom. We're clear? All right, so think about these things when you're paying this $400 fine. Think about how when you take from somebody else, you deprive their children of livelihood. Think about how you would feel if somebody was taking food out of your children's mouths. Well, in fact, think about it. Think about what you're contributing to your children. Are you a dad or are you a baby daddy? Are you financially supporting them? Are you emotionally supporting them? Do their teachers know you? If something happened at the school and they couldn't reach the mom, you gonna be the next call? My husband, he's the first call. Because I might be in court. He is the first call. He's out there on the football field with them because they're playing youth football. He's out there giving the benefit of his experience because he's been trained as a coach. So he's out making sure. But you just being a baby daddy, racking up charges at 32 years old. Get it together, man. We got enough of people who being baby daddies in the world. Let's be dads. Get it together. All right. So going to accept your plea. So does this come probation or just a $400 fine and 60 days to pay? What's going on with that?
Judge, my understanding was just a $400 fine and 60 days to pay. That was my interpretation.
All right. So, Mr. Smith, Mr. Lynch, and Ms. Hagler, this is sufficient. But I know that unless you take my words to heart, you'll be back, and I'll be waiting. So, $400 fine. Excuse me. That's going to be about $600 with the surcharges. And you're to have no contact with the victim in this case, and you'll have 60 days in which to pay the fines and fees. The no contact provision will be for the remainder of the 12 months. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
All right, everybody. I really enjoy this judge. I think I'd like this judge more than the rest of them. I don't know why I'm off the screen. This damn thing. We're gonna go to a little short clip of Judge Fleischer, and then we're gonna go to a Middleton one. Everyone's seen this one of Judge Fleischer, but it's too funny not to put out.
We just had this gentleman here because this gentleman had a public lewdness case where he was apparently and allegedly having sex in a car with another woman, and now he's picked up a new case.
I'm sorry.
You now stand charged, Mr. Vasquez, with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. So you are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Officers
Oficiales
observed the
observaron
defendant
el
driving with
acusado
his hazard
manejando
lights
con
on,
sus
slowly
luces
swerving through
intermitentes
lanes of
puestas,
traffic.
puestas
Officers
caracterizando
conducted a
lentamente el
traffic
tráfico,
stop.
realizando un paro de
Defendant did
tránsito.
not roll
El
down the
acusado no
window.
bajó la ventana.
Officer opened the driver door
Abrió la
and
puerta
asked
del
the
chofer y
defendant
le
to
pidió al
step out.
acusado que se saliera.
Defendant came
El
out
acusado
slow and
salió
uncoordinated.
lentamente y
Officers
no
smelled strong
coordinó.
odor of
El oficial
alcohol,
olió un
slurred
fuerte olor
speech, droopy eyes.
de alcohol sobre su aliento y de fuerza. Los
SFST
estudios de terreno
6
se
out of
realizaron
6
6 de 6 pistas
HTM,
en distrito horizontal,
5 out of 8
5 de
walk
8
and
pistas
turn,
en camino giro,
3 out of 4
3
one
y
leg
4 pistas
stand.
en paro de una pierna.
DIC was read
Advertencia
and
estatutaria se
defendant
leyó y el
consented.
acusado dio consentimiento.
Breath
Hora de aliento fue
.199
punto
and
199.20.
.20. And Your Honor, I also think that it's important to mention that in this previous case, the public rudeness, the defendant was also intoxicated in the back of the car in that case as well. And so this is kind of
Entonces,
the
esto es
second
como
time that this has
la
happened.
segunda vez que esto ha pasado.
What is the one thing I ordered you not to do, Mr. Vasquez?
No hiciera, señor Vázquez, ¿qué fue lo que yo le ordené que no hiciera? ¿Qué fue?
Que fue, pues la verdad, así fui, legalmente me pidió un favor, pues a un compañero de apartamento.
Well, just, you know, she asked me for a favor, you know, we're apartment complex friends
What
and
is the one
¿cuál es
thing
la una
I
cosa
ordered you
que yo le
not
ordené a
to
usted
do?
que no hiciera? Es la una cosa que él le ordenó a usted que no hiciera. Piénselo.
O que la ley que me dijo que nomás que me pararon, pero no para yo buscarle, pues buscarle el, para no causar tráfico, me fui.
Well, you know, the law stopped me and well, what I did was, you know, I just didn't want to cause any traffic. I need another interpreter.
I'm printing that out, Vic. Can you bring it? Let me have it, please.
Escuche las preguntas que le hace el juez, hombre. Sí. You're doing wonderful. I'm Luis, by the way. Natural flow work, natural speed bump.
¿Qué es eso?
¿Qué es eso, señor? ¿Qué es eso? Esto quiere decir una declaración juramentada de no manejo. ¿De quién es esta firma?
Es mío.
Quiero que tú ves. Hey. What's his name?
José Vázquez.
No. Quédate ahí. Quiero que tú ves. ¿Qué me dijiste ahí? ¿Qué me dijiste?
¿Qué estás diciendo en este papel?
Que no puedo manejar.
That I won't be able to drive.
Ajá, que no podía manejar y manejé. Sí.
That I shouldn't drive, but I drove.
What happens now?
¿Qué pasa ahora? I'm going to be arrested.
Correct.
Correcto.
Not only that,
No solo eso.
I will now have a hearing,
Ahora voy a tener una
and
audiencia.
if they prove to me that you were driving, you will be facing 180 days in jail.
80 días en una cárcel.
So now I am revoking both of your
Estoy
bonds,
revocando sus dos
and I'm going to
fianzas,
set them extremely high.
dejarlas extremadamente altas.
It goes with you.
El oficial. Va con el señor.
I think the best line in Judge Fleischer's court was just said there by Lewis when he said he needed another interpreter. For all the good lines that Judge Fleischer gives, he gave that one. That was a good one for the moderators in Judge Fleischer's court. It was fun to watch everybody try to find different ways of making jokes about this one without getting their comment deleted. It's hard, but y'all got to figure out how to make a good comment and stay in the chat there. It's a tough one, but it's a court chat. It's not a free for all chat like this is. This is a fun one. See, we've got Throw the Goat here, so we can say almost anything here. But that was a funny one. I like that one. Let's go to Judge Simpson one that's a little landlord tenant one from yesterday.
Trey Taylor.
That's a dismissal, Your Honor. Looks like they did
Oh,
get
it
paid
is?
out.
All right. Case is dismissed without prejudice. Spice Tree Apartments versus Haley Salisbury. He's here. And also Gavin, is it Wesleyan? Wesley?
Well, it's
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Okay. Oh, they're in like 8 different screens. Okay, yeah. That's good on my eyes for this time of day. All right, where are we on this case?
Your Honor, this was adjourned 1 week. Ms. Salisbury indicated that, I think Mr. Wellesley as well, that they were trying to seek legal counsel. Total due at present with court costs $4,735.32.
All right, folks, where are you on this?
I guess I'll go first, Your Honor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I want to start out by explaining that I requested the adjournment to retain an attorney, but I wasn't able to secure one within the week. We were calling attorneys that specialize with lease evictions, but nobody had the time to help. I would like to state that me and Haley have not been together since April due to relationship issues. And that's one of the reasons why my mom is involved. She's on the screen with her. She's done most of the talking between Haley and I. She's also communicated with Spice Tree Apartments. I lost my father in a tragic way on August 12th, so I haven't had the best headspace to do this on my own, and that's another reason why she's here. But to get things started, I guess for me, I'd already moved into an employee house free of rent and utilities in Ann Arbor on March 22nd. Before Haley moved in to her apartment on April 14th, she asked if I could help her by signing some documents on her behalf. When I inquired about what my involvement would be, since I wasn't going to be living there at this time, she wrote me a text explaining that the manager had told her, saying that I wasn't going to be held responsible for anything. It was all just a workaround to help her get into the apartment. With everything Haley has been through, I decided to sign the lease info because I did not want her to be homeless, and her staying at the employee house obviously wasn't an option. I never filled out an application with my info. All I got was an email of an e-signature file of the lease, and this made me believe what Haley said was to be true, so I signed the lease not knowing I was signing to be a resident.
Okay. All right. And what do you folks, Haley, what do you want to tell me?
I also have a thing I can read.
Hey, I hate to interrupt such a sad trial, and this was a sad hearing here, but looks like we got celebrity in the room. Victoria, hey, how are you doing? I didn't catch you there. So everybody say hi to Victoria tonight. I'm just kidding. Hi, hey Lewis, how are you doing? You had the best line when you said you need a new interpreter. That was a good line on that one. We appreciate what you're doing there, and we appreciate the way you handled that interpretation. A lot of ones doing the interpretation will cause you to want to change from the hearing, but you do it quite discreet, and I think Linus appreciates it too. So we're gonna get back to the hearing.
So, Your Honor, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I would like to explain my situation and how it led us here. I was approved for the lease based on a combination of my survivor benefits and Gavin's income. I was not in Ann Arbor yet because I was waiting to start a job here. I didn't start the job yet. He clarified on the phone that he wasn't going to move in at the time, but they still put him on. Yeah. And do.
I would explain this part right here.
And then the rent hasn't been paid because I don't have the survivor's benefits anymore. They canceled it in June. And then I was in
Hadley, hold on, stop for a moment. What kind of survivor's benefits did you have?
I don't know exactly. It was just like SER.
Did you lose a parent?
Yeah, both of them.
And your siblings.
You lost both parents. Okay. And in June, And in June, did you turn 21?
No, 20. Or no, April, I turned 20.
April, you turned 20. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was until I was 21, but I guess it's not. So that's why we're in this hole.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am. You want to tell me something?
I really do, Your Honor. I want to let her finish, but I also know she's very prideful. And this isn't a dispute, to be clear, about Gavin and Haley like against each other. But if I could read my portion, because I think you really do need to understand something incredibly crucial to the context of this. And then also some procedural errors that I have personally been involved with since June 19th that I think you want to be aware of. So I'm Andrea, I'm Gavin's mother. I've been helping Haley and Gavin navigate this situation. And I do want to clarify from the start, like Gavin did, that they're not dating and they haven't been in a relationship since April. I took on this role as a mentor and advocate to support Haley the past 2 years. I will get into that, and I know she feels uncomfortable with this, but even I'm frustrated and not sure how much more I have in my tank to help. And this young lady needs some help and guidance in this. 2 years ago, not only did she lose both her parents, she also lost her 3 baby siblings because her stepdad murdered everyone. It was a quadruple homicide. And I am mentioning this to you because though she was technically 18, and this is why I'm in her court, because this is all trickling down to today, and I'm not trying to just do the sympathy piece, but I need someone to understand this girl hasn't been guided. Because she was 18, she unfortunately, didn't have the assistance of anything else, but she was in that home and instantly became homeless because her home was a crime scene. And I didn't even know she was without a home already for 9 months at that point. Her and my son had been dating on and off. And once I discovered that, that's when I stepped in, because she has literally no mother, no father. All of her siblings are gone except for her 2 younger surviving siblings. And this has been a lot. Now I'm gonna cry because she never cries. So I know she owes the rent. She knows she owes the rent. We're not disputing that. But in addition to that, I want you to know that's why my son helped in the way he did in signing this. And he truly, from what I'll show you in the evidence if you need, he did not know he was signing a lease. He simply thought, because he's very naive, and he also should probably tell you he is not a reader. And he thought he was helping her out truly. And they split up in April. So, and he lived in an employee house, and that just further reiterates that there were some procedural errors and that the apartment complex did not do their due diligence in ensuring that Gavin was not a resident. He never sat there, he never met with them. And my request is, not that the money isn't owed, but my request is, after you hear all of this that had happened, that not only that both Haley and Gavin's names are removed from the lease, and that, let me tell you the rest. Thank you for being patient, by the way. Because of these personal losses, and what my son didn't tell you is the way he just lost his dad just 6 weeks ago was incredibly tragic. And so he's also got that currently going on. And she hasn't even begun to be able to process this grief, because for 2 years, we've been working to get her some housing. We're in her apartment with no furniture at this moment. She's had nothing here this whole time. And we've been waiting for assistance by waiting for a court summons so she could get on her feet, because she did have a job lined up. But now we're this far behind because nothing was served
Because they didn't.
until the dates I have. I have a timeline laid out for you, by the way. If you do want it, we have it on Zoom. It has a lot of dates that I have all receipts of all my emails with them, never getting a return email, never getting any answers on the phone. Not only that, they withheld information from Gavin on September 3rd when James called my son back, because that's also the day they filed this court summons, and no one ever told my son that. And then the very last thing I want to say is that our request is not to not have the amount owed, although I do wish we had some way to work around some of this, but to have them both removed from the lease, because it's demonstrated, and she had just moved in, he's never been in here, that this young lady's not going to be able to pay. And I don't want this affecting her for the rest of her life when she's already so upside down and has had no guidance other than myself with this. And that's the facts. And unfortunately, without burdening you with my problems, my life turned upside down and I am in absolutely no position to help like I otherwise would. And if that was the case, neither of them would be here today if I could help, but I can't. And so I'm hoping that sums everything up because I kind of went off script. And then if you want anything else, we have a lot of information for you, but I wanted you to know with the context with her because she's not going to share that with you on her own.
All right. Okay. Okay, Haley,
Mhm.
you're right now, is that your apartment at Spice Tree right now that I'm looking
Yeah.
at behind you?
Yeah.
Okay. So Haley, let me ask you this. As I sort of synthesize this whole thing, are you going to be able to move someplace or you just don't have anywhere to go? All right,
So-
young lady, let me tell you something. Okay? Because I heard Gavin's mom say, you have a lot of pride, right? Okay, is that right?
Sure.
Okay, so listen, here's what you got to do. I'm just sort of a plain talking guy, okay?
Mhm.
And so sometimes to try to work some of these things out, you got to kind of set aside your pride, okay? Sometimes, and sometimes things don't work out, but sometimes things do work out, but they can only work out if there are people in a position maybe that can help. Can't do everything, but you got to kind of know what's going on with you, okay? So if it's going to be a circumstance where you're going to be homeless, you got to tell me that.
Not maybe for a minute.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, honey, it's okay.
Haley, talk to me. All right.
Well, I just I would rather just not have to keep going through with this, like the
Okay.
rent. So
All right.
I could find somewhere. 'Cause,
Okay,
like,
now hold.
I wanted to do it all on my own, so.
All right. Okay. So Haley, love. Gavin, how old are you, buddy?
I'm 21.
All right. Now, certainly, Haley, not through the circumstances, probably not through the circumstances of either one of you, that you guys have been through. Let me just tell you, you're talking to somebody who, losing parents is hard, right? We know it's going to happen. At least if things happen in the orderly way, that's going to happen. But we never expect it. Okay. So I usually don't share things about myself, but so that you can understand that at least to a certain extent, I can kind of understand the uncertainty of where you guys are.
Mhm.
All right. Understand, I lost my dad when I was 16. So I can particularly appreciate, Gavin, when you say you're not in a good headspace, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. And, Haley, I can't even wrap my head around that. Okay. But the one thing I can tell you both, life doesn't end. You find a way to make it through. Haley, for you, sometimes when I'm telling you to set aside your pride, sometimes you got to set aside your pride. Sometimes you're just not that strong, and it's okay. Okay? Because somewhere out there, while the world doesn't seem like it's a great place sometimes, I believe in the goodness of people. And so sometimes when you let that down and people can see it and you just sort of lay it bare, I got to believe, and I just do believe, that there are people around that kind of help you out. Okay? And you just can't, you know, Haley, you don't have any reason to have any faith in humanity. You just don't. And I'm not going to try to tell you that you do. All right. But slowly but surely, maybe you'll begin to see it. Okay. It'll come back at some point. Okay. But more importantly, you got to give yourself space and time to heal and time to move on. And there's no recipe for it. And you're going to come across a lot of these bumps. And what I don't want you, it's one thing to give up on an apartment. It's a whole other thing to just give up on life. And the latter of that, I don't want to see. Okay. So, Haley, if you don't have the apartment, where do you think you're going to go? You got a place?
I have a place that I can go to, yeah.
Okay, for how long?
For a few months until I can get it figured out.
You know what, Your Honor, if I may, I only want to say, I think she would share more with you, and I don't know if you have if you're able to do this or not. I know because her and Gavin haven't been dating since August or April, I'm sorry, that she would probably share more with you if she wasn't in this situation. And I'm not asking you to make accommodations, but I do feel like that's where the hesitation's from. I don't know if he can be removed so she could share you more during this or not.
Well, let me do this.
Okay.
Let me do this. Haley, just really bottom line is, between you and Gavin, you don't have the money to pay for this apartment, right?
Mm-mm.
You have the potential ability to go someplace. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, Haley. I'm going. Ms. Dornbush, I'm going to adjourn this out to October 4th, 2024 over plaintiff's objection. What time?
12 p.m.
At 12 p.m. Okay.
Sir, could I say one thing though? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My dad's service is on the 5th, and they live down by Flint, and I was planning on being there for the 4th and the 5th. So I don't know. We could reschedule a different day.
Well, I'm going to leave it to the 4th because I think things have to get resolved for the plaintiff. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it that date. If you're not here, I certainly understand that, and we'll work around that some way, but you're not in the apartment in any event. So
yeah,
that may not be an issue. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Ms. Dornbush, I'm going to ask you a favor of you. If you don't mind, if I ask Haley to wait till the end of the proceeding, do you mind if I have a private communication with her and Gavin's mom regarding the circumstances in this case? I would never, of course, do anything detrimental to your client in that conversation, but just trying to figure out what we can do with this so some folks can land softly. You're muted.
Sorry, Judge, I was verifying those other payments. And I'm not entirely sure what to say because obviously the news, the information
Yeah.
that's been shared here today is frankly devastating. So, at the same time, I do have job to do and I have to advocate for my client, and I know the court recognizes that. I would say that if during that discussion, information comes to light that would otherwise affect my client's legal rights, that information needs to be shared with me. Because
Absolutely.
I do have an ethical duty to my client, but at the same time, I understand the circumstances and frankly, you know, what Miss Salisbury's been dealing with. I have no way to understand that. But I know that there's information that the court would like to hear that she would like to share. And I understand the need to do that privately. So, you know, if something comes up that is going to affect my client's legal rights, I have to request that information be shared with me, whether it's in a written statement or if it's something that the court discloses. And I think that's
Ms.
all I can
Dornbush,
say.
Ms. Dornbush, I would give you my word that if that were the case, and I would also apprise her that I would have to share that with you, so there wouldn't be any surprise on anybody's part. But I have a feeling there's something. Yeah, so if you don't mind, I think I will do that, and let's see where we can go and try to get this resolved, hopefully next week with this, but I think there's something that has to happen in the interim. Okay. So I'll adjourn it out a week. Haley, wait on the line. You and Gavin's mom are gonna go into a private breakout with me as soon as I get finished with these few cases that I got here, okay?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Call the case.
All right, that was the end of that one. That one was pretty tragic. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a reason they can't pay rent. That one was just as solid as a case as it could be. You know, the landlord still needs to get paid, but you got to be a human at the end. Luckily enough, that lawyer did her job. She advocated for her client and also was being a human on it. So we appreciate it. I'm going to openly mention to Lewis, hey, come on the show. A lot of people got questions for you. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to do an interview. If you don't want to do an interview, let's just come and hang out. Let's do a show. It'd be fun. Linus has been texting me in the background, you know, screaming about it. She wanted me to call you out in front of everybody. So Lena says you need to come on the show and do that. Julie, that was a rough case. A very tragic. That was every once in a while you get those and you get to see the judges be human about them. You know, they have to be there in the middle, but Judge Simpson bringing up that he lost his father at 16, you know, that just adds to it. So, so now we're going to do the sponsorship part. So I got a sponsor. A few months ago, I started getting sponsorship emails left and right, and I didn't feel real comfortable about them because some of them felt just plain dumb. Some of them just felt silly. And then when I got hacked, I realized, well, I need to start looking into that. And I had a sponsorship offer from a company called Aura. And so I signed up with them and I used their service for probably about a month and a half. And it was working out good for me. I was really liking it. And they made me an offer and I took them up on it. So today's show is sponsored by that. I couldn't mention it yesterday because YouTube requires me to press certain buttons and do certain things if I'm going to mention the sponsor. But that's what we have here. And I've got a sponsorship link. If you go to the description, it's aura.com/American Courts. You can get a 2-week free trial. It's internet security. It's does everything from credit monitoring to searching the web. I get emails. I probably get 3 emails a week that just says, hey, we found your information here. Do you mind if we pull it off? I don't like emails. I don't like a lot of contact. They don't text me. They just send me emails and it clears it up. So check them out. It helps the show out and I think it'll help you out. I don't like subscriptions, but this is working out for me. So let's go Judge Middleton.
We're on camera, sure.
All right, good afternoon.
Morning.
Have I got Patrick Reagan and Tara Yesh?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Put your cat's name. I'll put him their name in too.
That's the dog.
It's a minute pincher.
All right, well, let me put in.
That's Katie.
And I have Kristen Carpenter, and I have a phone number here. Let's see who this is.
I'm here.
Well, what's your name?
Kristen Carpenter.
No, I see. No, there's someone who's just a telephone. And I'm trying to.
I just added.
What's your name?
I just joined the call. Your Honor, Joshua Meyer.
Technical difficulties.
What's your name?
Joshua Meyer.
Okay. It's always awkward when we're by phone only, but let me get your name. Mr. Meyer is here on a general civil case. All right, well, let's address our landlord-tenant case. This next matter is entitled Kristen Carpenter versus Patrick Reagan and Tara Yesh for a property on Marianne Drive, which looks like a nice house from the inside. This is filed as a termination of tenancy. The plaintiff wants you to move. There is apparently no lease. And it says no payment has been made. So let's talk about this for a minute.
I have not received any payments from them. I actually have Olivia Hilton that is residing there as well. She is the one that's been making payments, and she requested to have them removed.
Well, let's talk about that. As tenants in a landlord-tenant proceeding, including a termination of tenancy, you have the following legal rights. You have the right to hire an attorney. If you cannot pay for one, the court must give you information about legal aid assistance. Legal aid may be able to assist you. They're not here with us this morning because they're at another hearing, but you have their contact information. You have a right to have the matter heard here in St. Joseph County where the property is. You have a right to demand a jury trial. You have to do it at this first hearing or file a demand in writing within 5 days and pay the $50 jury demand fee with the court form MC-22. You may be able to reach an agreement with your landlord by going through mediation. If both parties are interested, we can pursue that. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord. It means a conditional dismissal would be entered, but that happens sometimes. And if the parties are interested, we can help you with the form. Who is Olivia Hilton?
She's my son's girlfriend. I let them move in with me probably about close to a year ago. And I got behind on my rent. And I was talking to Nick, not his wife. I've never met her in my entire life, other than when she gave me a
Served you with
yeah,
an eviction notice.
an eviction notice. It wasn't even a real one. They went behind
Well,
my
they
back.
want you to move out. No, let me stop for a minute. Is there a lease, Ms. Carpenter?
No, sir,
What?
not with him. No, sir.
that we,
I had a lease on it when I moved in there. I paid the money and I had a lease with a different guy.
yeah,
Who,
Nick
yes,
had-
Well, do you have a
with the
lease
prior
now?
owner.
we do not have a lease currently with Nick and
Correct.
his wife.
Correct.
We had a previous landlord, which we had a lease with. They had purchased the property and never came up with the lease. We had been paying them rent and we were struggling. We had asked Nick for an actual eviction notice so we could get assistance. And he had put a writ to quit or something on our door, and Olivia and Andrew, Patrick's son, had come home to this lease while Nick was posting it to the door. And then he agreed to sign a lease with them unbeknownst to us. It was not to our knowledge. We had no idea. It was kept from us. And then we are
It
told that
wasn't
we had
kept. You guys
no,
didn't
it
pay.
was never told to us that we were even no longer the tenants of
Yeah.
that property.
Because you need to pay.
And Andrew
All right,
and
well-
Olivia never said that. Nick agreed to it so we could provide the assistance to pay you.
And we're locked out of the house right now. They changed the locks on the doors. I can't even get in there and get my stuff out.
And we have
All right,
proof
well,
of
that's,
the
all right, all right, let's back up. All right, so who is Nick?
Nick is my husband. We own the property.
And who did you buy the property from?
Kit Leper.
So the previous
Kate.
landlord was Kit Leper?
Yes, correct.
And Mr. Reagan and Miss Yes had a lease with him.
I did, Your Honor.
Right. All right, and then at some point, the notice to quit was served on the parties in June 27th.
Correct.
And they were given until July 27th to move, and they didn't move, so you started this action.
Correct.
So in the meantime, you've signed a lease with other occupants of the house?
Yes.
No, Olivia was before June. She was paying us. She said she was giving money to Patrick and he wasn't paying. So
But the
my husband,
original,
That is a
Stop,
lie.
stop,
Right, my
stop,
husband
stop,
said-
stop, stop.
sorry.
Miss Yes, only one person can talk at a time.
Okay.
So Miss Carpenter, you now have a lease with Olivia
Hilton, correct.
Hilton. Signed when?
I'm not sure actually, sir.
I'm
Let me
sorry
look.
too.
Hold on 1 second.
And is anyone else on the lease with Olivia?
No,
Their son is just with Olivia only?
correct. And it was signed on April 19th of 2024.
So you signed a lease while there were other tenants in the property
Correct,
with only one tenant.
correct.
I'm not sure you can do that. And now that person has locked them out. That
Okay.
violates the landlord tenant. You can't do that. In fact, the landlord can be responsible for substantial damages for locking a tenant out. So this is complicated. You have a lease with someone else while they
Correct.
were in the house. The bottom line, Mr. Reagan and Miss Yes, is they all want you to move out, including Olivia.
And we have
They
no,
have since, I'm sorry, go ahead.
we have no problem leaving the premises. It's just that we were, not aware, and we were trying to get the assistance, and they had gone behind our backs and not made it a compromise when Patrick had let his son and girlfriend move in with us. We were trying to, make it right, and they had not paid any rent to us or any bills whatsoever, which we were fine with. But because this had
Well,
happened, we weren't able to get any assistance because we were no longer the actual tenants of the place because it
yes.
was someone else's. Yeah.
So you're gonna have to move.
Yes.
All right, the law requires that I adjourn this matter for 7 days, which would take us to next Friday at 2:15. October 4th. Now, you would get 10 days from that date to move or be subject to being evicted. So essentially, you have until October 14th. Ms. Carpenter, they can't lock them out. They're lawful tenants. They're not trespassers. So
Okay.
you need to direct whoever is in there to unlock
Okay.
the door, or you can be subject for substantial damages for not complying with the Landlord-Tenant Relationship Act. So if
Okay.
you're gonna be a landlord, you need to know how to follow the rules. And there's a
Correct.
case called Havanesium versus Nam that says we expect the landlords to understand the rules. So anyway,
Okay.
you have,
So
we're
I
gonna
have
have
a
a hearing
question for you,
next.
sir.
All right. What's your
Um,
question?
If we, apparently there was a police officer dispatched out there last night. Reference to, I guess, Tara being aggressive. What am I supposed to do with that then? If there's damages made or more police calls, anything like that, that are dispatched out?
All right, the
I
police
call-
hate calls like, stop. You locked them out of their tenancy. So they went there and they probably called the police to say, hey, we can't get into our house.
Correct.
And so I'm sure there were hot tempers. If they do damage anything, they're liable for the damage.
Okay.
But they need to have access to the premises. All right, we're going to continue this to October 4th at 2:15. You get 10 days from that day to get your property out, which would be October 14th. And when you do move, you need to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address to the landlord within 4 days. So this is an odd circumstance if your vision is correct. Plaintiff's vision is they got a lease with a more reliable tenant. Your version is that tenant pulled the rug out from under you and signed a lease behind your back, which frankly, I'm not sure they can do. You're a tenant. They signed a lease with somebody else while you were in the premises, but now you don't have a lease. You don't have standing and you need to vacate. You're not a trespasser. You had a colorable claim to be there when you were a holdover on the earlier lease. At any rate, my advice is that you try to get your stuff out of there, preferably by next Friday. If not, you have all the way until October 14th. So I'll see everybody at that time.
Can we stay there, Your Honor, until then?
There's nothing that says you can't. I'm not sure that that's a great idea. It sounds like it's just a
Yeah.
recipe for discord, but yes, there's nothing legally prohibiting you from staying there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay,
And one
let's
more
hope we don't
question.
have a meltdown, but yes.
One more question, sir. On October 14th, then whatever's left in the residence, can it be taken out?
Well, you have to get rid of eviction. But if they vacated and left stuff there, then yes, you can remove that property.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
We'll talk about it more next Friday.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, see, that was the palate cleanser to get us out of there. So we get to see, sometimes we get to see Judge Clark or Judge Van, or sometimes Judge Collier. There's also another judge in Marietta, Florida, and he does a really good job of it. This morning he did. The part of Florida I grew up in is so rural that on the weekend the judge does open arraignments for 5 different counties, and he does them all at one time. And so he does one this morning. He's got a little funny moment in there, so I'm gonna throw that up, and we'll jump through that. The open arraignments are not as exciting to me. They're, really don't learn anything about anybody in it. But it's what I like about this judge is how he treats people with dignity. He treats people with respect. You can hear him calling the inmate. He'll call him sir. Just the Southern courtesy that he has and the respect that he has for the people that live in his community. I'm a big fan of his. I'm gonna throw him up. Let's see how you like it.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We're just a minute or two early, but I think we have everybody here. I see Miss Simpson. Mr. Mitchell, we can't see you. We can see your outline. It's like one of those Kellogg's commercials where you can see the outline of the person, but you can't see them. Ms. Simpson, are you seeing this outline of Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir. It's like he's blacked out or something.
Mr. Mitchell, can you hear us okay? I think you're muted, Mr. Mitchell. Can you hear us okay?
Okay, I got it working.
Okay. We can see an outline of you, Mr. Mitchell. We're going to assume that's you. We can't see your face. Just like I said, it's like one of those Tony the Tiger commercials where it's just a. Yeah, no, we can't see your face at all. Just a shadow. But we're going to go ahead and get started because we've got several counties waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Wade Mercer. I'm the county judge in Jackson County doing first appearances for 5 counties this morning. It's 8 a.m. September 28th, and there are 2 attorneys involved in the first appearance process every day, including the weekends. We have a prosecutor and defense attorney. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, starting with the state.
Jake Mitchell on behalf of the state.
Elizabeth Simpson with the Public Defender's Office.
Thank you both. Calhoun County is first. Mr. and Madam Jailer in Calhoun County. I think we have a Madam Jailer in Calhoun County. Ma'am, can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
And have you had a chance to play your first appearance video there?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we have Alejandro Ocon. Mr. Ocon, the jailer's going to show you where to stand at so we can see and hear you. Is Mr. Ocon in there? I need him to stand up where I can. All right, Mr. Ocon, you're here because you've been accused of 1 count of reckless driving. Mr. Ocon, there is probable cause for the charge. I've looked at your criminal history, which is not bad. However, your driving record is horrible. So, Mr. Ocon, I'm going to set you a bond in this case. Let me see if the attorneys have any additional information. On weekends, they typically don't, but let me make sure. Mr. Mitchell, anything from the state on Mr. Ocon's case?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Simpson?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Ocon, based upon your history, your bond's going to be $2,500 cash or surety. Cash or surety, sir, means that you can go through a bondsman. You do not have to put up all $2,500. You can go through a bondsman. And in just a few minutes, sir, you're going to get to use the phone to try to post the bond. Mr. Ocon, if you post the bond, you'll be released. If you're not able to post the bond, then you'll be seen by Judge Grover in the near future. Sir, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Wish you the best. Thank you, Madam Jailer.
Thank you.
Gulf County was the next one to get their list in, I believe, and that's Ashley Jones. Mr. and Madam Jailer in Gulf County, can you see and hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. Let me see if I can find Miss Jones on my screen. There she is. Miss Jones, good morning, ma'am. You're here because you've been accused of 1 count of battery. Miss Jones,
yes, sir.
Your criminal history is very good. Miss Jones, the question I have is the complaint says, or actually some of the jail paperwork says that you're currently homeless. So my question is, Miss Jones, do you have a place to live if you get out of jail on some type of release?
Yes, sir, I do. In Panama City Beach, where I've been living.
Where's that? What address is that? Who is that? Who do you live with there?
My cousin's mom. It's my cousin by marriage, so she's technically not my aunt, but she is, I guess. But that's where I've been. I was here to visit with my son and to stay through the hurricane because I live 2 streets over from the beach.
Okay, so you do have a place to live, right?
Yes, sir.
And when's the last time you've been at that residence?
Just 3 days ago.
Okay, you didn't have an argument, haven't been kicked out, haven't had a disagreement where you left voluntarily. You're still there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm still there
All right,
voluntarily. Sorry, not an argument or anything.
Are you employed, Miss Jones?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work at?
I DoorDash, but I do it like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Okay. Ms. Jones, I'm going to let you pick between a bond and a conditional release, ma'am. If you want to
Yes,
post a
sir.
bond, the bond's going to be $2,500 cash or surety. If you would like to accept the conditional release and want to offer you a conditional release based upon your representations today and your lack of any history, you will have a condition of no contact with the alleged victim at all. And if you do accept the conditional release, you'll have to show up when and where the jail tells you, which will probably be sometime Monday morning to meet with a conditional release officer. So you need to be aware of that. Ms.
Yes, sir.
Jones, do you have any questions about your choice between the bond and the conditional release?
Now, as far as the conditional release, Jeff and I have a child together. So how will that work as far as?
You can have no contact with him. I'm not prohibiting
Okay.
your contact with your child at all.
Okay.
What that means is
Okay.
a third person has to be the go-between to set up visitations or exchanges.
Okay, yes, sir. Well, the reason I was asking is because the officer told me yesterday that I wouldn't be able to contact his family or anything like that.
You can contact family for the limited purposes of setting up a child exchange. You cannot
okay,
contact
okay.
him at all, but you can
Yes, sir.
contact family, or your friends could contact him for that limited purpose.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
if y'all can't reach an agreement, then your only other option is to see an attorney to get you
Yes,
some
sir.
rights, some visitation rights in writing signed by a judge.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that conditional release, sir.
All right, I'm gonna grant you the conditional release. Just make sure you show up where the jail tells you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else from Gulf County?
That's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
Your Honor.
day. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
You too.
Thank you. We have Washington County's next. They only have 2 cases. And let me see if I can find Washington County on my screen. Mr. Madam Jailer in Washington County, can you see and hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. First case is Clayton Bradley.
I just wanted to come in real quick. See that Washington County, Florida only has two for arraignment. That means only 2 people got arrested overnight. Isn't that amazing? Thinking about Detroit or thinking about Houston, you know, how many people they get arrested at night. You know, these counties only have 1 or 2. I used to work on an ambulance in Jackson County where this judge is out of. And in that whole county, we had 5 ambulances. And most often, 1 or 2 of them would be on a call. Another 1 or 2 would be running around for a transfer. And we would be, you know, there would be 1 ambulance covering the whole county. And so that just shows you how rural some of these counties in Florida are. And I know most states have them, but I'm partial to Florida and I know most about Florida. And so it's amazing to be able to watch some of these to see just how laid back some of them are.
Mr. Bradley, if you'll stand where the jail shows you to stand so I can see and hear you. Mr. Bradley, and I may have a delay on my video here. That may be part of the problem. Mr. Bradley, I need you to step up to where I can see and hear you. All right, Mr. Bradley, you're here because you have 2 charges. You're accused of 1 count of battery and a separate count of battery by strangulation. Mr. Bradley, there is probable cause in both charges. And Mr. Bradley, it looks to me like you just got sentenced to jail time in June of this year. Is that right, Mr. Bradley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to set you a bond in these cases, Mr. Bradley. It's the same alleged victim in both cases. And since you just got out of jail, your bill's going to be $3,500 in the battery, $7,500 in the battery by strangulation because that's a felony charge. That makes your total bond $11,000 cash or surety. Mr. Bradley, your bond has a condition of absolutely no contact with the alleged victim. You will get a chance to use the phone and post the bond, but you can have no contact whatsoever with the alleged victim. And if myself or another judge finds out about it, they may issue a warrant with no bond on it. So make sure you stay away from that person while this case is pending. Mr. Bradley, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, sir. I wish you the best. LaTrenda Robinson. Ms. Robinson, come on up. Again, I think I've got the delay on their system this morning. So, Ms. Robinson, tell me when you get up there because I can't see you.
I'm up here, sir.
Great. Ms. Robinson, you're here on a failure to appear warrant out of Washington County. It's where you've allegedly failed to appear for a court appearance, and I believe it was with Judge Peel. The warrant has no bond on it, Ms. Robinson. That means you're going to be held until you can see Judge Peel. As far as I know, that's going to be Monday. Typically, Judge Peel is like myself. He does first appearances every weekday, and then he does weekend first appearances only when it's his turn. So you're going to be held until you can see Judge Peel, but right now you've got no bond. Ms. Robinson, do you have any questions?
Okay, I was incarcerated in another county.
Okay, let's take a second then and look closer at that.
I was
Let me go
incarcerated
back
from
to-
July till I got here.
That may be helpful unless it's a charge that occurred while you were on the PTI that you were on. So if you
No,
were
sir, it's old
incarcerated,
charges.
okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, Ms. Robinson, what I'm showing is you got a pretrial diversion agreement from September of 23. And in February of 24, the state asked to reopen the case because of your alleged failure to comply with the terms of your PTI. Let me see what happened after that. State asked for a warrant because of your alleged failure to comply, and the judge issued the warrant or capias.
Yes, sir. I had court
no
July
bond.
24th, and I had July 24th court, I believe it was, and then I got arrested in Geneva County July 16th, and I didn't get out till I came here.
Geneva County, Alabama?
Yes, sir.
What was that charge up there?
They picked me up on apprehension of hindering the apprehension of an escapee, and that mean they came off my bond. And so I had to sit there until I pled guilty. And then when I pled guilty, I came here. I sat there for 2.5 months.
When did the hindering or apprehension allegedly occur? When did that charge occur?
In July.
Okay, that would have been after you were on PTI. That means it doesn't change, whether you're in bond for, whether you have no bond for failure to appear or you have no bond for getting a new charge while you're on PTI, either way you have no bond, you're gonna have to stay until you can see Judge Peel.
Okay.
Have any other questions, ma'am?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
All right, have a good day, ma'am. And Madam Jailer, anything else in Washington County?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
The last two counties have 3 cases each, and the first one to get us the list today was Jackson County. So I'm going to go to Jackson County next. Mr. Jailer in Jackson County, can you hear and see us okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. And have you had a chance to play your first appearance video there?
Yes, sir.
Great. First case is Anthony Christopher. Mr. Christopher, come on up, please. Mr. Christopher, you're here in case 24-436 It's a battery case that you were on bond on. Mr. Christopher, when you got the new DUI, I revoked the bond in the battery case, so that's why you're still in jail. So you've got one case with a bond, that's a DUI, but you have no bond in the battery case. I know that you've already got an attorney in the battery case, so you need to, yourself or your family need to contact the attorney's office and make them aware that you have no bond in that case. Now, whether you hire an attorney in the new case or not is up to you, but I wanted to explain to you why you have no bond. That's why you're on the first appearance list. Mr. Christopher, do you have any questions?
How to proceed forward from this point, Your Honor, that's it.
I can barely hear you. Say that again, please.
Just explain what my terms are. Can you hear me, sir?
So, yeah, I can hear you. So you've got one case with an attorney. Now that attorney can add you to the docket this coming week if he wishes to see if we can make some progress in getting your case resolved. The new DUI case, you do not have a public defender appointed yet in the case. You may have a public defender appointed for first appearance purposes, but not in the case itself because you haven't came to an arraignment yet. So it depends on your attorney on the battery case. If he wants to add your case to the docket, I may see you this next week. I believe it's Mr. Atkinson. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
He's very proactive in his cases. He tries to keep his cases moving. So it would not surprise me if he wanted me to see you one day this week. The problem is he's not representing you in the new DUI. So you've either got to hire an attorney in the new DUI or get an appointed attorney in the DUI, but you've got no bond in the battery case because you've got a new DUI while you were out on bond. So I'll be seeing you either one day this week if he adds you to the docket. If he doesn't add you to the docket, I'll see you on the arraignment date for the DUI. And I probably can tell you your date in the battery case because you had a court date set in the battery case before the DUI arrest. So let me check that. Do you know when that is, or do you want me to just go ahead and look it up?
I think, Your Honor, it's somewhere October the 10th, the 9th, somewhere in that realm. I don't have the paperwork currently on me, but if I'm recollecting correctly, it's somewhere October 9th, 10th, but you can verify that.
I will. I'm going to make sure you know that because if I was in jail, I'd want to know when my next court date was. Your next court date in the battery case, well, that's not you. 24436 Jackson County. The next court date in that case is 10/10. So unless he sees you, unless he brings you up before then, I'm going to see you 10/10 in the battery case, and you've got another court date, which will be after that for the DUI case. I can't tell you that because I don't know that exactly yet. But again, as I said, Mr. Axon may bring you up before then if they got a package resolution. My memory is you don't have much criminal history. The problem is you've got to charge while you're on bond. Okay?
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good day, sir.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. We have Robert Cook next. Mr. Cook, good morning. Mr. Cook, you're here because you've been accused of violating the terms of your state probation. Mr. Cook, there's a no bond warrant in that case. You're going to be held with no bond until you can get over to circuit court and try to get this case resolved. Mr. Cook, I'm going to arraign you this morning because I'm trying to get your case moving. And if you want an attorney appointed to represent you, I'm going to go ahead and get that ball rolling. Would you like to have an attorney appointed to represent you in the VOP?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, Mr. Cook. Listen to Ms. Simpson. She's going to enter a plea for you, and then I'm going to give you a court date.
Yes,
Your Honor,
sir.
on behalf of Mr. Cook, we'd enter a plea of not guilty, and I'll get in touch with Mr. Guy Green to let him know that he's added to the list.
Thank you. So, Mr. Cook, you barely made the cutoff. We have a VOP court once a month, and you barely made the cutoff, but you did make the cutoff for the October 8th docket. The cutoff is September 30th. So what that means is as long as I arraign you by the 30th, which I am, today's the 28th, you get put on the 8th. If you got arraigned after the 30th, you get put on a different docket. So you're going to make the October 8th docket. And as Ms. Simpson just said, she's going to contact Mr. Green, the attorney that does VOPs, and Mr. Green will come and see you at the jail before your court date. Mr. Cook, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Jailer, Mr. Cook is on state probation, so we need to get your analysis on him after first appearance. And if y'all will email me the results, I'll make sure I forward it to the state in defense. If you have their email address, go ahead and include them in the email also. That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Cook, wish you the best, sir.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. We have Layla, and I may be mispronouncing that, Daniels. Miss Daniels, come on up. How do you pronounce your first name, ma'am?
Layla.
All right, Miss Daniels, you're here because you've been accused of one count of no motor vehicle registration. Miss Daniels, that normally would be a conditional release type offense, but it looks to me like you got a conditional release last year and you didn't make it long. You got a violation for not calling in. So there was a warrant issued for violation of conditional release last year, and I think eventually you were just sentenced to 10 days in jail on that charge. Miss Daniels, is there any special reason you remember why you may not have complied with the conditional release last time?
I did actually, but when I called in to check in, the lady I talked to told me that I didn't have to call in anymore because I was officially on PTI.
You didn't get a PTI in that case, though, did you?
My last court date that I had went to, the attorney had told me that that I was going to be on PTI and that I was going to have to go to a program. So when I called in that following Wednesday, I talked to someone and she told me that I was no longer in the system because I was officially on PTI.
Ms. Daniels, you never went to a court date except your first appearance. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, you're wrong.
Okay. I was wrong once before, so give me a chance to check and see. First appearance, 9/8. Nope, that's after you got arrested for the violation of conditional release. Nope, that's after you got arrested for the violation of conditional release. First appearance, July 17th. You're right. You came to court on the 31st, and you got a notice to appear for You got notes appear to be back in court September 19th of 23. Sign that notice. So that was July 31st. And then the probation office filed an affidavit that you did not report in for August 9th, August 16th, or August 23rd. Okay. So Ms. Daniels, given your, it's over 80 degrees in this courtroom. I got to take this robe off. Wow. We've got some air conditioning issues at our courthouse here in Mariana, which is nothing new, I'm afraid. Ms. Daniels, I'm going to let you pick between the bond and a conditional release. Even though you didn't make bond, even though you didn't do conditional release last time, there may be a reasonable explanation for it. And you're charged with the very minor offense. This is the lowest level crime Florida has, a second-degree misdemeanor of criminal traffic. If you want to accept the conditional release, you will have to be at the courthouse Monday morning at 8:15 a.m. to meet with a conditional release officer. If you want to just post the bond instead, I'm going to set you a $250 cash bond. If you post the cash bond, you'll still have to come back to court eventually for an arraignment. But if you post the cash bond, you won't have to report in every week. And if you do post the cash bond, and if there's a fine imposed, the cash bond would eventually go towards the court costs and fines. So would you rather accept the conditional release and have to report in once in person and then by phone on a weekly basis, or would you rather post the cash bond and not have to report in and follow all the conditional release rules?
Let's do conditional release.
I'm gonna grant you the conditional release. Make sure you're at the courthouse 8:15 Monday morning. Mr. Jailer, we need to give her notice for her arraignment docket. That way we don't have to mail her one. So Mr.
Yes,
Jailer,
sir.
we need to give her notice for arraignment on November 4th at 9 a.m. November 4th at 9 a.m. will be your arraignment date. Ms. Daniels, I would encourage you, if you can get this vehicle registered I don't even know if it's yours, but supposedly it's your vehicle. If you can get this vehicle registered before your arraignment date, that is something that I will look at and can take into account, and also something the state looks at. But you'll be on conditional release until the case is resolved. Any questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, man. Wish you the best.
Thank you.
Mr. Jailer, anything else in Jackson County?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
And we have 3 cases in Holmes County. Mr. and Madam Jailer in Holmes County, can you see and hear us okay there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. And have you had a chance to play the first appearance?
And so there's Holmes County. You can see the inmate there with the striped suit. That's the county I'm from. They are actually in the courtroom right there while they're doing it. So they actually have to go to the courtroom in order to get on a camera to do the first appearances on it. Their jail is too small. They don't have anything set up there. I'd love to joke around and cut up to saying they don't have camera technology at the jail, but in the end, it's just so small. It's one of those places where I'm not so sure they've been too long off the chain gangs. Cleaning up the streets with all handcuffed together. So it's a good little community. I love that town. I'd love to go back there one day, but not a lot of job opportunities there. So you gotta go where the money is. So here we get back to that
video there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Thank you. Ronald Thompson's first. Mr. Thompson, good morning. You're here because you have 2 violation of probation allegations. There's no bond in both of them. Mr. Thompson, that means you're going to be held with no bond until you can get over to circuit. That's a county court case, actually. Until you can get to county court and see the judge, probably going to be Judge Taylor. In most counties, Mr. Thompson, they do that the next working day or next weekday after a weekend or holiday. So I think there's a good chance you're going to be seeing Judge Taylor on Monday, but you have no bond for the time being. Any questions, sir?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Thompson, wish you the best. Amanda Sims. Ms. Sims, good morning. You're here for 1 count of possession of methamphetamine you're accused of, and 1 count of possession of paraphernalia. Ms. Sims, I have some probable cause questions in your case, so I sent a text and a copy of the complaint to the state and defense this morning. So I'm going to give them a chance to have any input before I make a final decision. Mr. Mitchell, any input on probable cause on Ms. Sims?
Judge, we would just ask for reasonable time to amend the complaint.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Simpson?
It didn't appear that there was probable cause, Your Honor, but whatever you consider best.
All right, so Ms. Sims, let me explain this to you, ma'am. when a law enforcement officer accuses you of having an illegal substance, they have to identify the substance and explain how they've identified it. There's basically 3 ways they can do that. Number 1 is if you admit it's methamphetamine, cocaine, marijuana, whatever, that's sufficient for probable cause. The second way they can do it is if they do a field test. That's the most common method. We did a field test on the substance and the field test said it was blank. Okay. The third way they can do it is they can identify it based on their training and experience, but only if they put in the complaint that training and experience. I've been to so many classes, I've been to a 40-hour school, whatever. And based upon that, I can identify this substance as the illegal substance. Okay. That's very difficult with methamphetamine because there are other substances that are not illegal that look like it and have the same consistency. In your case, the officer did none of those. They didn't explain how he identified the substance other than saying, based upon my experience, I know this to be methamphetamine. That's not sufficient unless he includes enough information to lead a reasonable person to believe he knows what he's talking about based upon his particular classes or education with that substance. There's no probable cause is what I'm saying. When I find no probable cause for the charge for methamphetamine, that means there's no probable cause for the paraphernalia, because the paraphernalia is only a crime if the methamphetamine is methamphetamine. And it may be, I don't know. The officer didn't do his job thoroughly enough for me to justify holding you. When I find no probable cause, I have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is to hold you 24 hours and ask that they amend the complaint. Choice number 2 is to release you. I make that decision based upon your criminal history and the seriousness of your charges and some other factors. Those are the most important factors. In your case, I want to direct that you be released today. This does not mean they can't charge you. If the state fixes this by getting the officer to be more thorough in the complaint, or if he did a field test and he just forgot to put it in there, he can come back and do that later. But what it means is I'm not going to hold you for this charge. I'm not going to make you post a bond. You're going to be released. You need to make sure the clerk of court has a good mailing address, because if the state charges you, they will send you a notice to appear in court, and I don't want you to miss your court date. So when you get out of jail today, the first of the week, Monday, you need to call the clerk of court in Holmes County and make sure they've got a good mailing address for you. If the state charges you, and they very well may, then I don't want you to miss your court date. But based upon the lack of probable cause, you're going to be released. Do you have any questions?
Sir, thank you very much.
Wish you the best, ma'am. Have a good day. We have Levi Young. Mr. Young, good morning. Mr. Young, you're here for first appearance charged with DUI. Mr. Young, there is probable cause in the complaint. Mr. Young, from what I've seen, it looks like your first DUI charge ever. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I know you've got some minor criminal history. There's nothing in there that's extremely concerning to me, more so than any other first offense DUI. Mr. Young, I'm going to let you pick between a bond and a conditional release. If you want to post the bond, it's going to be $2,500 cash or surety. If you would like to accept the conditional release and want to offer you a conditional release because it's your first DUI and because your criminal history is not that bad, Mr. Young, either way, whether you choose the bond or the conditional release, you will have a condition not to possess or consume alcohol. So you need to understand that will apply either way. And if you choose the conditional release, you will have to show up when the jail tells you, which to meet with a conditional release officer, which will probably be Monday morning. Mr. Young, do you have any questions about the bond or the conditional release?
No, sir.
And which one do you want to choose?
Conditional release.
I'm going to grant you the conditional release. Just stay away from any alcohol, Mr. Young, and make sure you show up where the jail tells you. And I wish you the best, sir.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. You have a good day.
You too, man.
Matt?
I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to change this one up. Okay. Let me get rid of that one. There we go. All right. Break from Michigan, talking about your husband has DeWalt everything, including the weed whacker and leaf blower and chainsaw. We've actually got a small yard, and we've got the DeWalt lawnmower. My wife went out and bought it because it was neat. It was a battery operated lawnmower. Thought it'd be cute and fun. And by the time we got done, we spent over $1,000 on a push mower, and the thing will only last maybe 30 minutes. And so I'm not so sure, outdoor tools being battery operated are the best idea. See, girl, why am I putting her on blast like that? Because we spent $1,000 on a push mower. That is the reason I'm putting her on a blast for that. That broke my heart. I'm either wasting money on stupid things or I'm amazingly cheap. And so whenever she She bought the lawnmower, and by the time we got done with it, it was there. It broke my heart. But you know, we do cut the grass with it. It is quiet. Neighbors are very appreciative of it. So we just got to roll with that. I think that's it. All I got for us tonight. We got to learn about Zevo. We got to learn about fruit flies. The Judge Mercer there in Jackson County, Florida, he let someone go because they didn't have probable cause. You know, we see that in Judge Fleischer's court a lot whenever the police don't have good enough probable cause for something. I think that's, you know, that's always good when a judge actually pays attention and listens and doesn't just you know, that doesn't just you know, go along with whatever they say and, you know, whatever the prosecutor says and just roll with it, that they actually look for that good probable cause. And so you got to appreciate that. I'm going to throw up that OR link on there. Look, if you don't have internet security, get it. If you don't get it through here, get it through somewhere. It offers a lot of services. A lot of these services are, you know, you may have it through your credit card company or you may have it through your bank. But one of the benefits I saw with it was it puts it all in one place. And like a VPN, I didn't have a VPN, and I think that's one of the big things that I messed up on whenever I got hacked. They've got it all in there. And go to the link. It helps out the channel, and everything that helps out the channel helps us put up more videos. So link will be in the description. You guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow night.